place that they're working is financially stable and able to offer the secure environment that they deserve for all the hard work that they put in. And again, this is not at all anti-labor. And in my sense, we're very pro-labor. We'll always be very pro-labor. But we do need some real common sense reforms that, frankly, everyone else in this region has had to live up to over the last few years. We need that same sort of common sense to apply here.
Good. I guess I have a couple of comments and questions. You go to slide 7.
Sure.
Yeah, which is kind of the service level we have today, which I think is important to know for anybody in the audience that this is the service that's on the ground today. But if you look at the region's land use transportation plans, its goals for air quality, for how we want to live in this region, the regional plan, actually, if I remember right, is assuming a 3-fold increase in our service. Is that right, Mr. Jerome? So this service right now is not adequate to meet, the long-term demands of the region and what we hope to have here to keep this region livable and be a great place that has economic advantage for everybody. So if you go to the next slide, these next 2 slides, Richard, this is where the unacceptability of where we are today needs to get home. If you look at it in 2020, which is, if I remember right, about the date that our health benefits take about 47 or almost half of our payroll taxes to fund. Is that about the right number?
47% of the underlying payroll tax.
Correct. Goes to pay for our employee benefits and retiree benefits. And if you look at that, without changes in the contract we have, that's a 34% reduction in service from what we have today. 49 weekday lines canceled. I mean, that's totally unacceptable. And then if you go to the next slide, which again assumes no underlying changes in that cost structure, the basic math of this issue, in 2025, we have to cut 70% of our service. So the region wants us to increase it 3-fold, but in essence, we're cutting it, over in half. And so we're going to be out of whack by 6 times, if my math is about right, in terms of what the region expects and what we're able to deliver. So stressing what I think everybody's saying here, we want to provide attractive wages and benefits, but they also need to be affordable. And I think we can work with the union to come up with benefits that are very comparable for significantly less cost. Because we can't allow this to happen, and they can't allow this to happen either, because when you look at that reduction, it may not be 1-for-1, but if there's a 70% reduction in service, that means, we're going to be reducing our staffing, including bus drivers, in that same range of magnitude when we get down to that level. So there's huge, ugly benefits for everybody in this scenario. So the math has got to be brought back in line, and I appreciate you bringing this to our attention. I think the service level maps are probably the most stunning piece of this presentation for me, that if we don't do something, this is what we could be faced with as a region, which is totally unacceptable to us as a region. The other thing, following what you said, Consuelo, when you look at the long-term retiree benefits, I also have never seen a benefit as rich as we have here at TriMet. The numbers, can you assign a number to what it costs if somebody's vested and retires at the age of 55 with those full benefits for life? What that actual number is per employee? Do you have that number, Kenny?
Well, this is very general, but the present value of that benefit is about $1 million over the average life of that employee.
And I suspect Multnomah County would have some benefits, probably in the tens of thousands of range in terms of the benefits. So there's another example where we have to, even though the impact isn't immediate in terms of the changes, those are things in terms of our long-term, liability for payroll and for retired benefits. We have to have a handle, and that's also unacceptable. So I think this is again illustrative of what we are, and I appreciate you putting this together. The question I have is, will this be posted on the website?
Yes, we will.
I think this ought to be up on the website so people can take a look at it and see it and contemplate it some more. And I think it just underscores the problem with the math of where we are today. Because if we get into this situation where we're cutting service, it's very hard for anybody to support increased revenues or resources for transit. At the same time, we've got to cut service. I don't see that happening. So we've got to get back on a sustainable path. So I'm on my soapbox a little too much, but I look at that and it's just completely
Well, I think that motto where this starts with save our service is really good. I'll remember that.
I think maybe the one slide to add, just to go to throw in a positive, is if we were to succeed with the ETU, I heard you say that would restore all of the service that's been cut.
No, we would just be in a balanced trajectory going forward. We would only, I noted that, and I realize now I probably caused some confusion, but if we were paying ahead of costs for employees, that would
Then
restore.
it would restore.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
okay,
again,
that's
not
fine.
immediately.
I wanted to show one with more blue.
Yeah.
Darn it,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
Dr. Bethel?
One thing now, Mr. General Manager, if this is going to go up on the website, spell out the acronyms.
Yes.
Out there, will understand
Very good.
what in the world is a C and an OTO and a PEB and all those kinds of things, you know?
Good one, good one, good
I
one.
agree, thank you.
All right, any other questions or comments? All right, thank you very much, appreciate that, that's very sobering. All right, we have Mr. Benata coming up to talk to us about the sub-district boundary changes.
Good morning, President Warner, members of the board. This is not necessarily new to you because you've seen these maps, and so you have in your packet the 11 by 17 color map. I can walk through this for you. Just a quick update for you. This is the Secretary of State's redistricting plans for the TriMet district. If you remember last summer, Josh Goldberg presented before you the initial plans that the Secretary had laid out. And it has to do with equalizing the population in each of the districts that you serve. This type of redistricting happens after every census, and so with the Secretary's office using the 2010 data, has modified or has proposed modifications to the boundaries of the districts that you serve. And just so you know, too, this also takes into account the boarding withdrawal that took effect as of January 1. At last summer's presentation, Mr. Goldberg received feedback from Board Member Prosser as well as Board Member Clark, and so those changes have been modified into this proposal. On the left-hand side of your chart, and there's also the additional piece of paper in front of your eyesight, you need a little bit bigger numbers. The target population was 210,000 people per district, and that was what the Secretary of State's office was aiming for. You'll also see the adjusted population in the bold, and that's what the ending population is with the proposed boundaries in front of you. So as you can imagine, as the office was trying to capture the appropriate population for the districts, the boundaries changed. So there's give and take when it comes to the service district boundaries. Not an easy task. So just walking through the different districts, President Warner, your district comes closest to the target population. There are some changes for you. Well, let me just note too that on the map, the yellow lines are the boundaries and the heavier red lines are the proposed changed boundaries. So you'll see the give and take across the system. Vice President Schweitzer, your district is in the pink, kind of in the middle, if you see district number 2. On the northern side, your district has changed a little bit as we've expanded Dr. Bethel's to capture more population. Your district has also changed a little bit, acquiring more areas in Washington County. And one thing that I should also note too, one of the things that the Secretary of State's office did was try to maintain boundaries to common thoroughfares. So you'll see a lot of streets that are demarcating the boundaries, as well as trying to keep communities together so you won't see a boundary going through a community, if at all possible. Dr. Bethel, your district, number 5, and in that light blue at the top, needed to grow in size to reach the targeted population. Board Member Zaragoza, your district, number 4, in the green, kind of in the middle, needed to gain more population and is pushed out a little past 82nd. Board Member Stovall's district actually needed to shrink a little bit because of the population out in East County. And Board Member Prosser, at the meeting where Mr. Goldberg presented, your comment about how you commented how you wanted to keep Clackamas County together. So the Secretary's office actually acted upon your feedback and tried to keep as much as possible Clackamas County together. However, there are so many people in Clackamas County that it was impossible to keep it in one district. You'll also note the Secretary's office restored Gladstone and parts of northern Clackamas County to your district. So some of the comments that former board member Clark had made was to keep Sherwood, Tigard, Tualatin, and King City all together in the same district, and the Secretary's office achieved that as well. So those are just the high-level changes. You have seen this before, so it's nothing new, and I can answer questions, although a lot of it is pretty black and white, so, or in color on this map. So what will happen is, with your final review today, if you have any further changes, we'll forward them on to the Secretary's office. But after that, the Secretary's office will formally adopt them and it'll go into effect.
I will say, because I did have some concerns with the initial draft from the Secretary of State's office, and this is a much better proposal from my standpoint. Thank you. Please pass along my thanks to them. I know it's a lot of work.
Any other questions or comments? I think, yeah, I think it was nice that they listened and took our comments into account, so I feel pretty good. And if this all, without further comments, that we're being pretty satisfied. You know what their timing is for adoption?
I don't. I think they would like to enact it very soon, so.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right. Is that the end of our briefing here?
Unless there are questions, we're happy to do that. I would also note, just in your packet is an annual report that we put together that really begins to review perhaps the highlights of the last year and looking ahead as well. So, something that we can potentially use as we continue our conversations with the public.
Any other issues or questions? All right, hearing none, we're adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.